Thanks for taking the time this month to check out my update newsletter down below, and of course this video update. We're going to start off by just giving you a brief overview of a few promos we have right now. As you'll see in my newsletter, we have up to $2,000 cash back being offered from RFA for frontline workers. So if you're not sure if you're a frontline worker, there's some details there, or feel free to reach out to me and I would love to get you this cash back promo, and we can deal with this on either purchase or refi, or of course if you're up for renewal, it may be an opportunity for you to switch over to a lender that may be a better fit for yourselves. I'm going to dive into a market update momentarily, but there's some helpful information below regarding renewing your mortgage and what the options are there and what you should be prepared for. And further down, we've actually got a referral companies. You may have be through your company that they are giving cash back incentives. So I've gone ahead and posted a couple of companies that I like to work with, in particular Simply Financial. It's been a great provider for me over the years and my family. And another one I like to trade on is Quest Trade. If either one of these would be of interest to you and you'd like to get a little bit of an incentive for switching over, by all means, scroll to the bottom there. Coming up in the near future, Peak Realty has partnered with a company called Lacorum, in which we are going to be offering a little thank you back to our clientele for referring us for the real estate side. And since I'm also a mortgage agent, I might as well take advantage of that as well. So we are still working through the intricacies of that system, familiarizing ourselves with that. But once we get that all figured out, by all means, we'll be setting out a little campaign, just like these campaigns here from Simply and from Quest Trade, in which you can actually refer a friend. They can get a cash back option and you can get a cash back option. And that's my way and our company's way of saying thank you for thinking of us and going that extra step of referring us. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into the real estate and mortgage environment there. And the big one I want to talk about is mortgage rates. So before we get into the real estate side of things, I'm finding this is a very interesting real estate market, as the valuations, as I'll get into momentarily, are on the rise. And yet our inventory is quite high as well, which indicates that the buyers aren't jumping as quickly as they may like. I suspect a big part of that is because our mortgage rates have not dropped. Actually, they've done quite the opposite. They've gone up. We started off the year with a very aggressive seller's market, and the valuations just went through the roof. However, the steam only lasted about a month, and then we just found that things just started to kind of slow down. By all means, it didn't stop. It's still a bit of a seller's market, but what we're finding is that the buyers are very selective. If the home is turnkey, great, they'll jump on those opportunities, or if it's just a great bargain price, the buyers will jump on it. But I suspect that a lot of it has to do with the high purchase prices, because these prices are still quite high. And the other big part of it we need to consider is, of course, the mortgage rates, how much they have to pay to borrow to buy this house. And that's something I think a lot of sellers don't necessarily think about, because they're just thinking about getting some money back for their homes. But from the buyer's perspective, this is a very uncomfortable environment, because they still feel like they're paying a lot, albeit way lower than where they were in 2022. So we'll see where the mortgage rates go. I suspect we have a lot of buyers on the sidelines waiting for the opportunity to go in and buy their home. And hopefully we'll see in June finally that rate drop. But as you can see in this little article, which I'm talking about here, is that the numbers came in very aggressive. So we may not see that rate drop that many of us are hoping for. Time will tell. And that's, as we're seeing here, really playing into, what are people's plans for their mortgage rates and interest here. I'm just going to turn that off. But I constantly check over a lot of articles, and if you'd like me to share any of these articles with you, I'd be more than happy to share them with you. But this is kind of talking about, in light of the fact that we have mortgage renewals coming up for many of us, either this year or next year or so forth and so on, does it make sense to pay down these mortgages? And should I do so now, or do I wait to renewal? All very good questions. This is a great article that was over on Yahoo Finance that kind of talked about the pros and cons and many different aspects you can contemplate. The one thing I really liked about the spokesperson here is talking about liquidity. When we pay down our mortgage, we don't have access to that money easily. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to weigh the values, the pros and cons of, do we pay it down or not pay it down, and how much should we pay down? Do we have reserve funds in place to help out with that? So if you ever want to kind of discuss that, run some ideas, bounce some thoughts off of me, I'd be more than happy to help you guys out. So please pass that on, or feel free to reach out to me in regards to that. As we can see, and as we should get into the real estate situation here. CMHC is saying that affordability is a real concern all across Canada, and which is definitely impacting the sales. Interesting enough, though, we are seeing that the sales are doing okay. We do get other articles that talk about, homes are selling fast in these southern Ontario cities. And this particular article says, we're talking about, albeit a little bit longer, 18 days, 21 days, whatever else. One thing I would caution, though, all buyers as you contemplate buying your home is that yes, the homes that are selling relatively quickly, less than a month, according to the averages. Keep in mind, some have been sitting in the market way longer, and some are multiple offers sold within a week, and that's of course skewing the stats down. Keep in mind also that these stats are based only on the homes that have sold. I personally find that there's a lot of great opportunities that are sitting on the market that perhaps a lot of people have overlooked because they're looking for those bargain deals. The problem with the bargain deals is they're usually underpriced on purpose to try to bolster the sale price to make for a nice quick sale and ideally to get the seller more money. So I would say take a second look at some of those houses that have been sitting on the market. By all means, again, reach out to me and I'd be more than happy to kind of sift through the options out there as you consider, what your options are to buy. And of course, we can always play into the mortgage side and see what our affordability is, because a lot of it is the home, but also what's going to be my monthly obligation to buy this home. Okay. Looking at the Waterloo region, we've got the recent update there for the month of April, and I know we're into May now, but as you can see, we're seeing things very more or less flatlined. They're showing a slight increase from last year for all single-family homes, detached homes. In the area of townhouses, again, slightly up. Condos are a little bit down, a little bit of a saturated market there, and then semi-detached. It kind of depends on what we're selling. Semis do have a real range of newer and older type of semis. So again, always good to look at those minute details. And here's kind of those numbers a little closer by. And as much as it may be showing a slight drop in value, it's very, very minuscule. The bigger thing I think to pay attention to is that since our drops are significant drops back in the fall, and I would say the early winter there, we have risen quite nicely real estate wise. So again, as I always like to do, let's look at the peak stats as I find they're a lot more detailed and give us a lot more information. For the sake of time, I'm only going to look at the overall trends. I'm not going to look at single detached condos, whatever else. If you have anything like that you want to discuss, dive into, by all means, reach out to me. We do have all those stats in a similar format to this, and I love talking stats. So as you're kind of prepping and preparing for either your investments or just buying a home or upsizing, downsizing, whatever the situation is, the best thing is just to give me a call, and it'd be my pleasure to go through these details with you. Um, as you can see right here, May to date, I'm not going to put a lot of emphasis on that because we are relatively early into the month of May, but paying more attention to April, we can see we saw a slight drop in valuations. But if you look back here where we were in April of 2023, we are pretty much on par with the exact same number that we were last April. But as you look here, May and June, we went up quite high. July started to see a bit of a drop down. And then, of course, in the summer into the fall, we kind of hit some lows there. Kind of kept bouncing around, up, down, up, down. And that's why I often say look at the quarterlies, not necessarily month to month, because it can get skewed very easily depending on what sold in that particular month. But as you can see, as we've rolled into 2024, our numbers have little by little creeped up. I can see January, which I talked about earlier. We bounced up significantly from December. February, we kind of held back a bit, and then March and April again back up there. I suspect there may be more to the story here, though. The one thing I really do want to draw your attention to is the number of listings that's sitting on the market. Keep in mind all these stats are based on what is selling. What they're not sharing with you is how many homes are not selling. Interesting enough, it's not in this chart, but we do track our inventory levels, and the inventory levels, interesting enough, are on par with where we were last fall. We're almost double what we had last year. So although our valuations have recovered to where they were in 2023 spring, our inventory is significantly higher. So I think there's some real opportunities out there for people looking to buy homes, as I think a lot of buyers are sitting on the sidelines waiting to get in once they hear those mortgage rates. The problem is, if that's what everybody else is doing, then you may be too late. I would recommend, much like Warren Buffett often recommends, jump in now. Take advantage of those houses that have been sitting for a while and see if there's perhaps some wiggle room on their sale price. Anyways, give me a call. I'd be more than happy to kind of check over the market, see what's out there. And yeah, hopefully this little update has been helpful as you contemplate the value of your home and your housing aspirations. And again, take a moment to scroll through the newsletter, check out some of the listings I have on the market, and check out some of these referral sites. And if you have any questions regarding these, or even other sites, like I was just sharing with a friend the other day about eSIMs. I don't know if you've heard of eSIMs, but if you're going to be traveling overseas, that's a great opportunity to still have digital data at a very low cost. And again, I have a referral system for that, so I can definitely refer that and get you some free money, and you can also utilize that little resource as you travel around the world. Anyways, wishing you all the best for the summer months that are coming up there, and I'd love to hear from you at all. So just give me a call. All the best.